good morning, good evening. This is the Nabwic Investment Club, National Association of Black Women in Construction Education. And we are looking for members. So if you're interested in becoming a member of the Association of Black Women in Construction, and go NABWIC, complete the membership information, and we will gladly entertain our investment education for the month of April 2025. And so Doretha Dennis Jones is in the process of sharing. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. As a part of the educational meeting this morning, I'd like to share an article I read from Better Investing, April. The issue is April 2025. The article is entitled, "A Careful Young Investor Presents Her Portfolio." The young lady in the article is the president of the South Florida chapter, and she goes on to share with the author of the article her portfolio and how she chooses the stocks that's in them. The author is Daniel Bowl. He says that he met Sophia as he listened to a podcast called My Investing Story. I joined that podcast quite often with Ione McNeil and Ann McNeil, who are Better Investing volunteers. And that particular, he heard her on the podcast in July of 2021. And then he had the opportunity to interview her by phone. So it goes on in the article to share her portfolio and the things that she do to make decisions on buying the stocks. Um, One of the things that happens in the article is after Daniel looks at what stocks she has in the portfolio, then he goes on to give her a recommendation on what to do accordingly. You know, there is a process with Better Investing about how your portfolio should look. 25% small, I think is 50% medium and 25% large. I could have that formula incorrect. But he does give her information and some advice about uh, what to look at each one of her stocks. Her list, she has a list of 15 stocks that she owns, and she follows them very closely. Um, as large stocks, she has IBM, Microsoft, Taiwan Semiconductor, and this makes up 28% of her portfolio. As a recommendation, he tells her to um, that her portfolio is a little overweighted and that she needs to perhaps cut back on some of them, uh, to trim down on some of that's in her portfolio. I think that her portfolio is a little overweighted in that category. Then she has Deere Company, JB Hunt. She has Lockheed Martin and Osaka. And he tells her to trim that a little bit also because it is weighted. And because of the challenge that's happening with the tariffs, he tells her that she may need to trim that so that the outlook of her stock is not is not that she doesn't lose so much in with what's happening with the stock uh, as we go through this session of the economy. She does have several other parts of her portfolio that he looks at, but he just has a good time going through her portfolio and providing some recommendations. He is impressed that she has become the president, and that is she is willing to share her portfolio. You guys can go back, take a look at that article, look at all of the suggestions that he provides for her, and look at how she determines on what type of stocks that she buys on a weekly or a monthly basis. Again, that comes from the Better Investing magazines, April 2025. Thank you for letting me share that. And I'll give that back over to you or anyone else who wants to share.
All right, Doretha, thank you so very much, Doretha. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so Carolyn, you want to go ahead? Carolyn, you want to go ahead and share? I'm sorry, Carolyn. I'm not sure if you're able to speak, if you wanted to share. Carolyn might not be able to speak right now. So
my car was disconnected to the phone because I'm driving, and we both read the same article. So
may
you
have
can go. No, what I'm saying is that we both read the same article. What yeah, my phone going in and out right now as I'm driving.
Hi, this is Nicole. I didn't have anything to share, but I do have some questions regarding that article. Thank you so much, Doretha, for that synopsis. It eagerly made me want to look for my BI book so that I can take a look at, the portfolio and the recommendations. It brought to mind the need really for doing these sort of assessments and really having someone who has that expertise to sort of look for our portfolios because with the investment club we spend a lot of time and energy putting in the analysis, but oftentimes in our personal portfolios we can get a little bit more emotional and less intentional in terms of the analysis that's needed. So it definitely gave me some ideas to really have maybe a third party look at it to evaluate the balance, to understand the trajectory in which the portfolio is going so that it stays in line with the BI principles. So thank you. I think I found my April book. I'm going to be taking a look at her portfolio and hopefully the member who did the evaluation, maybe that's someone we could reach out to that could give us some assessments on our investment club, or even if there's a potential for them to take a look at our personal portfolio. I think that'll be a great opportunity for us to learn and take advantage of that expertise. So thank you.
Okay, I think Anne was going to share the video with us next. It's called sharing before she does that, and nothing to share before we move forward. I was looking at the video sample webinar, stock screening and stock ideas. Nicole, can you share that? Or can anybody share that?
It's called stock screening. And where is it located? It's in the WhatsApp.
I think you can find it on the YouTube.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I could pull it up. Is it a better investing?
It it may be connected with Better Investing. However, it's located on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Alrighty.
While
Alright.
Nicole is doing that, remember tomorrow technically is also supposed to be our executive meeting.
No,
Is it next
for the next Tuesdays, the third Tuesday of the month is the executive meeting.
Okay, very good. So next Tuesday. And
Yes.
and Carolyn, I need for you to remind me because I think it's this week that it's become available. When is our K1 going to be made available again?
He said it was Monday, so I will follow up with him. Maybe he got caught up with something else. So I will send an email today,
Okay,
and
awesome.
so that will trigger his memory to make sure and send it out for us. So
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. My Zoom is going in and out because it's disconnecting from the car. And since I'm driving, so when I get the chance, I speak. But what I was saying is that I read the same article as what Dorita read. And and I'm not sure if Nicole remember, we had someone on our call years ago and they did evaluation of our stocks at that time, and we were able to, we sold some of the stocks that he said too. So we did implement some of the things he said we need to do, but we was not 100% complete of what he suggested. So, but I can't remember that day for us to actually go back to that video to see if we can find it. But it's been a while. So I'll go back on mute.
Okay, if you're ready, I can go ahead and share the video. Any other questions or comments before we start? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we're ready for the
Oh.
video.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think I'm gonna share the video, but doesn't really appear to wanna. Give me 1 second here. Um,
You type in the company name or
our webinar, which is entitled Screening and Stock Ideas from the Online Stock Tools Suite and the Better Investing website. My name is Ann Cunias and I am your host. Our presenter this evening is Susie Artsberger. She is the Vice President of Online Stock Tools, Information Technology, and Data here at Better Investing. And in case that didn't sway you, I will tell you that Susie is highly qualified to speak on tonight's subject matter. She leads the team that develops and continuously improves these powerful stock tools, and she is a dedicated user of the tools that help her manage her own stock investments. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to you so you can help us learn what Better Investing has to offer us in the area of great stock ideas. Susie.
Thank you, Ann. And welcome, everyone. Let's get started with our standard disclaimer because we love it so much. You will see some stock ideas as we go through our program. Please consider all of them for demonstration purposes only. Whenever you see a stock in one of our webinars, please research it and ensure you understand what you're investing in before you invest. Securities in the screenshots or the live demo may or may not be currently held in my portfolio. I am an active investor. Our presentations may contain images of products or services that are not endorsed by Better Investing. If those images exist, that doesn't imply that they are endorsed by me or Better Investing. Our session is being recorded for future use in case you have to leave or want to review it again later. The recording will be posted in the video learning library and available to members after logging in to the Better Investing member website. Today, we're excited to take you through an overview of the screener or stock ideas page of the online stock tools suite and all the cool features that you can find there. After that, we'll dive into a live demo of the stock ideas page in SSG Plus so you can see it in action. And then to wrap things up, we'll explore some additional features of your Better Investing membership and the member website that can help you discover even more stock ideas. If you have questions as we go along, please don't hesitate to submit them in the webinar chat or the questions pane, whatever it looks like to you. They will either be addressed live, answered by one of our capable backroom staff, or will be answered after the webinar if time does not allow us to get to them during the live webinar. First, a quick intro into the Stock Ideas page. When you land on the Stock Ideas page, you'll notice that it offers a variety of ways to explore potential investment opportunities. Whether you're looking for a well-established company or a small up-and-coming stock or simply inspiration for your next deep dive, this page has something for every investor. One of the most user-friendly features is the predefined stock screens. These are ready-made filters that help you quickly narrow down companies based on different criteria. Next, on the left, we have individual screening criteria where you can craft your own filter from any combination of the items listed. SSG Plus users have the most criteria, while core subscribers have 6 items from which to develop their queries. And then for SSG Plus users, there's the ticker heat map on the right. This visually striking tool shows you the most popular stocks being studied by our Better Investing community, color-coded by potential return. Bigger boxes represent stocks that are most frequently studied, while the colors from dark green to red indicate the relative favorability of those stocks based on projected returns and management factors. It's a quick visual way to gauge what other long-term investors are focusing on. And as you review the results at the bottom of the screen, down here, you can click on the rightmost preview icon to preview key data, such as sales, earnings, price trends, and company information, without having to leave the screening tool. This preview feature gives you an instant visual snapshot of whether a stock fits the Better Investing mantra of up, straight, and parallel, meaning consistent growth in sales, earnings, and price. As you preview the data and find some interesting companies, you can save them to your filtered list. This acts as your own personal watch list, making it easier to revisit your top picks and start a full stock study when you're ready. Until now, we've shown you the Stock Ideas page from the SSG Plus view or tool. The core SSG is very similar, but slimmed down to just the basics for those just starting with the methodology. 6 individual criteria and 2 predefined screens, quality and value screen. The filtered list functionality is the same as in SSG Plus. There is no ticker heat map for core SSG users. The results section is very, very similar between the tools, with the exception that core users don't see the Morningstar grades in the results. This slide shows you the similarities and differences between core SSG and SSG Plus in chart format. You'll see that SSG Plus has more individual criteria, more predefined screens, and has the ticker heat map. If you're having trouble finding good quality companies, I often feel it's worth upgrading to Plus just for the additional screening capabilities that the tool offers. There's just so much more. To help you remember these main sections of the Stock Ideas page, we have a Screening and Stock Ideas Quick Start Guide that walks you through the various features of the tool in 5 easy steps. A link to this PDF is in the description of the video or the handouts area of the webinar. So we've given you a basic overview of the screening tool. Let's go live and I can give you an in-depth demo of how the features work. I'm going to switch over to my demo screen and I'm going to start from the member homepage. I've already logged in. You can see my name up here. On this page, you'll see the gray area in the upper right-hand corner. To get to the online tools screening and stock ideas page, click on the blue box with the magnifying glass icon. That will take us directly to the screening and stock ideas page. So if we click that, this is what we're going to see. And you'll see that this magnifying glass icon is on the left. And let's start by taking a look at the predefined screens in SSG Plus right here. Those are the most user-friendly. The first predefined screen is the quality screen. This screen filters for companies with strong, consistent growth over time. It focuses on key metrics like sales growth and consistent earnings growth, as well as profitability and other management metrics, making it ideal for long-term investors seeking companies with a solid track record of performance. This is a great starting point for those looking for dependable, high-quality businesses. If you're wondering about the exact screening criteria, click on the question mark icon next to the button, which will open a window and show you that criteria. So we're looking at sales and earnings growth greater than 10%, debt to capital less than 40%, pre-tax and return on equity trends that are up or at least even, and a pretty straight line for earnings per share. We'll talk about R squared in a moment. Next, we have the value screen. This screen identifies companies that might be undervalued relative to their earnings potential. If you're hunting for bargains in the stock market, this screen helps you find stocks that are trading below what our community of investors believes they're worth, giving you a potential edge in finding growth at a reasonable price. Next, are you looking for both quality and income? The quality and dividend yield screen combines the best of both worlds. This filter targets companies with strong fundamentals, similar to the quality screen, but narrows the list to those that also provide a healthy dividend yield. It's perfect for investors seeking steady growth with some income from dividends. For those seeking higher growth potential, the small company screen focuses on smaller, lesser known companies that still meet our high quality criteria. Small size companies often have more room to grow, and this screen helps you find companies with the potential for higher returns, though they may carry more risk. If you're interested in getting in early with smaller promising companies, this is the screen for you. And you can see as I go along, I'm clicking on each of these, and the one that is in green is the one that's actively showing in the results area. And I'll show you the results area in a minute. Next, we have the roster of quality screen. This filter is designed to match the strict selection criteria used by Toolkit's long-standing roster of quality. It highlights companies with high sales and earnings growth, low debt levels, and strong profitability. These companies are known for their consistent financial performance, making them a go-to for those conservative, quality-focused investors. And finally, we have the A-list stock screen. This screen showcases the cream of the crop, companies that are not only growth companies, but those that pass most, if not all, of the audit criteria within core SSG or SSG Plus. As a result, these companies have demonstrated consistent financial results and are frequently considered top choices among better investing investors. This is actually my go-to screen number one. Once you click on a button to activate the screen, the results will populate in the bottom results section of your browser, as you can see here. In just a minute, we'll review all of the results area's features. But first, let's take a look at the individual screening criteria. So when you look at the tool in SSG Plus, you'll notice a wide range of individual screening criteria on the left-hand side. These options allow you to refine your search and zero in on stocks that meet your specific requirements. So let's take a closer look at these individual criteria that are available. First, we have sales and earnings growth, two fundamental metrics for assessing a company's performance over time. You can set minimum thresholds for both by clicking on the drop-down and choosing one of the selections. And I can do that for this second selection. It doesn't have to be the same, it can be different. As you set the individual criteria, realize you can use just one criteria out of the list. You can use two. You can use them all if you want and combine them in the same query. The third one showing is the 5-year earnings per share R-squared value. And that measures how closely the changes in earnings per share follow a linear trend. A higher R-squared value, closer to 1, indicates that the company's earnings per share has shown a consistent and predictable growth pattern over this period. So we could get very close and say we want something with this greater than 0.9. That's very strict. While a lower value suggests more variability or deviation from the trend. For this particular criteria, we can mouse over and see what that exactly means. And it says EPS consistency over the last 5 data points, where 1 indicates a perfect fit with a straight line. All right, we've set it pretty strict here. You can also filter by size and sector. For example, to look for just small size companies based on Better Investing size categories, I can click on the button with the label of small. The button will turn green, indicating it is the selected criteria. You can also select one specific sector, not multiple, that you might want to look at and from the sector drop-down list. If you're seeking income, the dividend yield criterion lets you focus on companies that pay out dividends. You can set a minimum yield percentage to find stocks that provide a steady stream of income. So let's say just something greater than 0.5%. You might want to combine that with a growth criteria up top, as I've done here, which might be good for those looking to balance growth and income in their portfolios. Next, we have 2 trend indicators, and they're management indicators. Pre-tax profit trend and return on equity trend. These 2 criteria have a button type of selector again. In general, we like to see upward trends in both pre-tax profit and return on equity, so selecting up is the strictest choice for both. Many times, however, I'll select up and even together to allow more companies to be returned in the results. And so that's right, you can select multiple buttons for these criteria, as well as you can do the same in the size criteria. And moving down to the next 3, we have the Morningstar growth grade, Morningstar profitability grade, and Morningstar financial health grade. These metrics allow you to screen for companies with strong financials and growth or profitability based on trusted Morningstar algorithms. Morningstar grades are rankings using the letters A through D and F, where A is the top or best 10% of the ranking in a sector, and F is the bottom 10% of the ranking. We actually don't see a lot of Fs in our data set. And I love to use financial health grade of B or greater, but you can use them all. I will say that these sales and earnings growth criteria do a pretty good job, and kind of the same thing as the Morningstar growth grade though. So I rarely use the Morningstar growth grade. The PE to historical earnings per share growth ratio is a valuation metric that compares a company's price to earnings, or PE ratio, to its historical earnings growth rate. A lower PE relative to historical EPS growth may indicate that the stock is undervalued, while a higher PE to earnings per share growth rate ratio could suggest that the stock is overvalued relative to its past performance. So in this screen, I'm not particularly looking for a valuation metric. I'm just looking for something that is quality, small, in healthcare, and that I might want to put on my watch list. And don't forget, you can use any combination of individual criteria in your screen. However, you cannot combine predefined screen and individual criteria. After choosing your criteria, you select the search button at the bottom. Look, no companies are found. So I'm going to make it a little less strict and say, doesn't need to pay a dividend. And I'm going to loosen the financial health grade. And I'm going to say, loosen up the earnings per share R-squared grade, and then I'll start to get some companies. So I've created initially a very strict screen, and I'm going to loosen that up a little bit. And there's the results in the results area. If you want to reset the criteria to their original unselected state, click on the Reset Criteria button here, and you'll see that everything up in the individual criteria section on the left goes back to its original state. Next, let's take a look at our results in the results area. So let me load some results here, and I'm going to go back to that A-list stock screen. So after we've applied our screening criteria, the results area displays a list of stocks that meet your parameters, whatever they are, either predefined screened or from the individual screening side. The table itself gives us a wealth of information, allowing us to quickly assess each company at a glance. Here you'll find essential data columns such as company name, ticker, sector, size, key financial metrics like sales growth rate over the last 10 years. Here's that valuation metric and so forth. On the bottom, there is a scroll bar, and you can easily scroll to the right so you can see the rest of the columns. And in this case, those are the growth grades, profitability grades, and Morningstar financial health grades. So the table is designed to be fully interactive, make it easy to explore amongst the data that has been returned. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit farther and say I'm only showing, here's how many entries I'm showing at a time. I could do 100. I have 10 showing. If I did 100, I'll see more, obviously. I have 37 items returned from my screen in that A-list stock screen. So let me show 50. And to see the rest of them, I'm going to scroll the rest of the way down. And then there's a scroll bar here. And that's all 37 of them. One of the most powerful features of this results area is the ability to sort and filter your list. You can sort any column simply by clicking on the header. So if I want to look at sorted by sector, I see a number in consumer cyclical, a couple in consumer defensive, and so forth. You can sort by sales growth, which is fun to see which ones have the most robust sales growth over the last 10 years. Or by PE ratio or that valuation metric to see which ones might be undervalued, or sorting the other way, which ones might be overvalued. Additionally, you can use the search box at the top to refine your list further. So that's up here on the right. Simply type in a keyword, a ticker, or a sector, and then it will filter live or search live. So I can type in cyclical and see that now I have 7 entries filtered from 37 total. You can see this, my little cursor is down in the lower left. Everything in the consumer cyclical that came from the A-list stock screen. I can see the size. If I want just medium companies, I can do multiple. I can do search up here and filter down at the bottom and see that there's these three, Rollins, Lululemon, and Green Brick Partners. So for a quick visual snapshot, I can look at this preview data button. So I click that, and this will display a pop-up with key financial trends like sales, earnings, and price movement in those black bars, all presented in this easy to read chart without leaving my screening tool. You can see where the current price sits relative to the stock's 52-week high and low by this end black price bar and the red crossbar next to it. So for Green Brick Partners here, we see that the red is more towards the high, the 52-week high, than it is middle or low, which may be something worth taking a look at. See, if the company's doing that well, that it's almost near its 52-week high. Now, if you don't know the company that you're looking at, but it looks intriguing, you can click on the question mark icon, which will give you the full Morningstar description of the company, the sector and industry that are down below, consumer cyclical and residential construction, and then that Morningstar financial health grade of B. So if this company intrigues you, or one of the ones that you are previewing, you can save it for later. The preview pop-up lets you save stocks to a filtered list by simply clicking the star icon in the pop-up. This feature then will turn yellow and it will be saved to a filtered list, which is kind of like a custom watch list of stocks you've screened and want to revisit. And it makes it easier to track and study them over time without, if you're just not committed to making a watch list, but some interesting ideas you might want to follow up on. You can access the filtered list at any time you're on this screening page by showing your filtered companies. And here's a little explainer of what the filtered list is and what you can do with it. So if I want to see all the companies that I have filtered, I'm going to click Show Filtered Companies. And then scroll down, and we see that the green button for Show Filtered Companies is active, so I can tell that's what I'm seeing. And here's that Green Brick Partners, which is the sixth one down, the sixth row down. If I want to take companies off the filtered list, I have two options. I can go back to the preview pane, click that pin icon again, and it will unpin it from my filters list, or I can clear the whole list in its entirety. But I just removed that one, so let me click on Show Filtered Companies again. Scroll down and you'll see that I'm going to sort them by company name. Green Brick Partners is now gone from the list. So once you've identified a stock that might interest you, you can click the company row to open a full stock selection guide for deeper analysis. If you want to save or share your screening results, you can also export the data as a CSV file by clicking here on the button, and it will come up in a comma-separated values file that is easy to open in any spreadsheet application like Excel or Sheets or Numbers. And with that, we've kind of gone through all of the pieces that are relevant to the results area. So let's move on and make sure we talk about the ticker heat map. To look at the page again, we'll see on the right that there is the ticker heat map in SSG Plus. Now what you're seeing is just a picture, but if I mouse over it, I see it become active with the little hand symbol. And to see all of the ticker heat map data, I'm going to click on the picture, and up pops a much bigger image. And once open, it's kind of easy to navigate. I can move my mouse over any of these boxes, and what it shows are the top 100 stocks being studied in the Better Investing community through the online tools over the last 90 days. Each square on the heat map represents a stock, and they are all grouped by sector. So we have the technology sector here on the left, consumer cyclical and healthcare in the center, and so forth. And so it makes it easy to spot trends across different sectors. And I'll show you that in a second. One of the first things you'll notice though on the ticker heat map is the boxes vary by size. We go from something very small, let's find one, maybe Copart, CPRT, to something that's much larger. The larger the box, the more studies that have been conducted on that particular company. For example, a company like NVIDIA or Visa might have a larger box due to their popularity amongst investors. The color of the box provides another layer of insight. The color gradient ranges from dark green to dark red. Dark green indicates stocks that may be considered more favorable based on projected potential returns and management indicators. And dark red signifies stocks that may be less favorable in terms of projected returns and management indicators, according to the data collected from those recent stock studies. It's important to remember that this color ranking is relative. Green doesn't necessarily mean a stock is a buy, and red doesn't mean it's a sell. The map simply shows how each stock ranks against others in terms of potential favorability. You can hover over any box to see key details about the stock, including the company name, the sector, the industry, historical growth rates for sales and earnings, and how many studies have been done in the last 90 days. So for me, looking at NVIDIA, and I see that 2,355 studies have been created and studied in the last 90 days is amazing to me. This indicates the power of our like-minded community. The one nice thing about this hover box is that it gives you a quick snapshot of the company without leaving the heat map. So if you want to dive deeper into that company, you can just click on the box to open a stock selection guide.
And did you decide not to share the sound again or anymore? Sharon, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it is now almost 7 o'clock, so it's time to
Right.
close this down.
Right.
So I kind of understand this, but it would be worth our coming back to this because this is very educational and something that we need to do. It
Very much
shows
so.
a lot, I
Yes.
think it verified everything that we all had been thinking. I don't know why she hasn't closed this. So it is 7 o'clock. It is time for us to close this meeting. So is there, I don't remember, because usually by this time I'm heading out the door. Does
Right.
and usually do something in particular to end the meeting? So ladies, I think that we can go now. I know that Carolyn is probably close to her destination. Nicole is probably getting ready for her day, and I need to get ready for my day too. Thank you so much for leading us and starting us off, Dorothy. We appreciate you very much. Okay.
Absolutely.
But
My
let's
pleasure.
agree that we need to go ahead and finish this video. This is very good. If not one
Absolutely.
again, if not one,
Yes, great information. I agree.
yeah. Okay then. Thank you, ladies. I'm off.
You're welcome. Me too.
And if we click on them to open them, in my computer, it's going to open in a browser window. But depending on your computer's configurations, this might open in a browser window or a separate application like Adobe Reader. And the PDF report provides information on the company's business model, financials, growth prospects. Each report begins with a brief introduction about why the stock was selected as a quality growth company. There may also be a commentary about how the company makes money and a summary of the company's strengths and challenges. All of this along with the author's projections for the SSG forecast. So let's scroll down and see that. So we see their exact projections in relationship to the SSG that we all use. And at the bottom, this report also includes the actual stock selection guide form, so you can see how the company and the author's forecast look on that completed SSG. So first cut stock reports are a great starting point for your own stock analysis. They provide you with a thorough overview and use real-world data from other investors who have already done some legwork. However, it's important to remember that these reports are intended as a first step in your research process. You should always do your own due diligence to determine whether a stock fits your investment criteria. Additionally, since these reports are created by different members of the Better Investing community, you may see multiple reports for the same company, as we did. This gives you the opportunity to compare different perspectives and gain a deeper understanding of the company's long-term potential. Now, if you want to submit your own stock study to the Better Investing community, you can do that. I'm going to go back to that company page for Skyworks and figure out how to get access to the First Cut Stock Report form. And to do that, I'm going to go back to the First Cut Stock Reports page, either by going back to Find Great Stocks or clicking here on the breadcrumb. And that on that original landing page for First Cuts, there is a template, and we can download that First Cut Stock Report template. And I'm going to pull this over so you can see it once it loads on my computer. Just give me a second here. And here we go. I'm going to pull that over so you can see it. And it's a Word doc, but it will also open in Google Docs. And you can see that there is a template, and it walks you through the steps of creating your report, including filling in the introductory information, then filling in the key financial information. And basically, we want to know, in your words, why you consider this to be a high quality growth company. We want to know what your judgments are. Anne is the one doing the reviewing. She is not the judgment police, but she does want to know, why did you select this rate? So give some justification for selecting your projections. And then you attach a completed stock selection guide. And once submitted, your report will be reviewed. And if it meets the standards, it will be published on the site for others to benefit from. So let me go back to our page here. All of these reports can be a valuable resource for stock ideas that complement the stock ideas page and other ideas on the website. They can also provide a jumpstart to your company research. And before we move on to other stock ideas, do you have any questions about First Cut Stock Reports?
We do not, Susie.
All right, perfect.
We're all set there.
Yeah, so from here, let's go on to look at some other stock ideas under that first find great stocks dropdown. So I'm going to go back using the breadcrumb to find great stocks. And we started with first cut stock reports. Actually, let me do that from here. And then I am going to actually pick stock ideas. And under stock ideas, we have 5 different kinds of stock ideas. And let's start with the first one. Let's start with the stocks featured in Better Investing magazine. So clicking on that, each month, the Securities and Review Committee selects a company that they believe is worthy of your attention and research. The stock to study often highlights companies with strong fundamentals, steady growth, and long-term potential. So these might be perfect for investors looking to build a solid portfolio. The undervalued stock focuses on companies that are trading below their perceived value, offering a potential opportunity for investors who are looking for growth at a discount. The links to the historical list of stocks going back several years is available, and they are in spreadsheet or PDF format. So let me open the PDF here. And you'll see that here is 2024 and all of the magazine issues. You're probably wondering why we have November and December already listed, because the committee has already met and picked the stocks for those magazines, and they were announced already this year. So you see that by month of the magazine issue, we have the stock to study and then the undervalued stock in the rightmost column. And in Better Investing magazine, each stock is accompanied by an in-depth study, which provides valuable insights into the company's financials, business model, growth prospects, and valuation. And you can click on Better Investing magazine to go read the magazine articles within our archives. Next, in the navigation, we have 5 and 5 Ticker Talk stock ideas. And those originate from our monthly Ticker Talk webinars 5 and 5 segment. So on this page, we'll click the green button to move to the Ticker Talk landing page. And on that Ticker Talk landing page, you'll see a couple of links, many links in fact. The first link is a link to the event page that says that will allow you to sign up for the next Ticker Talk webinar. Down at the bottom, we'll see a blue button which links to the Ticker Talk past webinar recordings in the video learning library. So you're simply going to click the link here, and then that will open up the video learning library. More interestingly, however, there's a link to download the 5 and 5 stock ideas in a spreadsheet format. So I'm going to click that link, and I've downloaded it a few times. We're going to open that file, and I will drag it over. Gotta wait for my Excel to open. And then I will show you what that looks like. Here's what that spreadsheet looks like. So for every Ticker Talk session that we have had, there's 5 stock ideas. The list is updated with the most recent, and it gives the ticker, the company name, the date it was mentioned, the closing price on that date, in case you're the data-oriented type and want to see how good we are at mentioning stocks in 5 and 5. The size of the company, medium or large, the sector in which it's classified in the industry, and whether that company pays a dividend or not. Down at the bottom, there are a number of sheets inside the workbook, and we go back to 2020 with this listing. So what you can do, it's if you'll notice it's already filtered and sorted from earliest to latest. So within each yearly sheet, you can filter the data if you so choose. Okay, I'm going to close this out and then go back to our stock ideas submenu. And the third item here are the Better Investing Weekly Stock Screens. So these screens provide stock ideas, fresh stock ideas, based on specific screening criteria such as high quality growth companies, small and medium companies, dividend payers, or undervalued stocks. It's a different screen every time. And the weekly stock screens are another great way to quickly identify potential investment opportunities. So here you'll find this high quality growth company screen that was just done yesterday and went out in our BI weekly email today, which went out, I think, about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And you'll also see that you can have two ways of opening this data, spreadsheet or PDF. If I click on the PDF, there is the list of stock ideas from this week's screen. And actually, let me go back there. Up at the top, you can see a description of how the criteria used in that screen at the top of it. So that's sometimes helpful if you want to try and replicate that or do something slightly different. Got off track here. But I do want to show you that down at the bottom of the page, there are stock screens from previous weeks in case you've missed any. And if you look at the dates, you'll notice that they're about 2 weeks apart. So every 2 weeks in Better Investing Weekly, we will post another stock screen. But you can always come back to the website here under Find Great Stocks and Stock Ideas to see them all in one place. All right, let's go back up to the top and take a look at the fourth item, and that is most active stocks. The most active stocks list is comprised of the stocks most commonly transacted by our investment clubs during the trailing 8 weeks. The list tracks the buys and sells recorded by investment clubs subscribing to myiClub.com, which is our online club accounting application. Now, the list might be only updated monthly on this page. Actually, it was updated today, but generally we update it about once a month. To see the most recent data that we have, which is updated weekly, there is a list on the member homepage. You can access the member homepage by clicking on this most active stocks link and going there, or you can always click on the Better Investing logo to get back to the homepage. I'm going to scroll a little bit down on the member homepage, and most active stocks shows up here in this black or very dark gray section. And this is as of 10/20. It's redone once a week and is another most active stocks list. And what might be interesting here when you're looking at most active stocks like this is that what are the investment clubs selling? So usually there's buys, a lot of buys, some sells, that's fine. What we notice here from Apple that may be noteworthy to you is that there's some buys, but more sells. So I always think that's a little interesting view when I survey this list. Now going back to, again, Find Great Stocks and Stock Ideas. The last item in our left navigation is the top 100 list. Every year, Better Investing compiles a list of the top 100 stocks most commonly held by investment clubs. To see the magazine article where the top 100 list is published in the April magazine, click on the blue button that says See Top 100 List. The magazine article will open and you can view the list of stocks in that PDF format. I'm going to scroll down so you can see what that looks like. Actually, maybe I can blow it up a little. There you go. So it gives you the company, the ticker, the size, the sector, the rank by number of clubs holding, and then rank by number of shares held. Those are two different things. So, for example, Disney might be held and is ranked 8th by number of clubs holding, but it's only ranked 27th by number of total shares held by the community. And then the estimated total value of shares held by our Better Investing My iClub community is 300. For example, for Apple, we own $321 million amongst the investment clubs. I think that's fascinating. And the power of our collective community. So now that you know how to access all of these website resources, you can use them together, peruse them to search for more stock ideas that may not be found in results from the online tool screener. You might find something different there. So I'm going to turn back to our PowerPoint. And give you a recap. And so in summary, we have a wealth of stock ideas and resources that are suitable for better investing investors, which you can review and drop us a line and tell us your favorites. We'd love to hear from you. So Anne, do we have any final questions before we wrap up our webinar?
Well, there wasn't, but one just came in.
Okay,
So,
great.
Stuart is asking, where do we, Better Investing, get the data as to the club holdings?
Oh, great. Well, that's the club data as of the clubs using myiclub.com club accounting software. That's where we get our club holding data. And My iClub is the largest investment club or partnership accounting platform. So we feel it's truly representative of what the Better Investing community is doing.
Yeah, Kendi.
Okay.
Anything else?
There has not been a bigger flurry. I'm not seeing any. Well, wait, one just came in.
For that, so
Does this say?
I just have. Excuse me. I'm so.
If you update an SSG, this is an interesting question. If you
Okay.
update an SSG, is the updated SSG counted as a new SSG on the heat map?
Oh, no, it's counted as an original SSG with an updated data. So the heat map is more of a popularity contest because it's the top 100 companies studied in the last 90 days. In that heat map view, we don't count whether the study has been completed or not. Bit of a difference from member sentiment estimates. So it's really just a popularity contest, but we do go to the studies that have been completed to help set those favorability rankings. So let's say there was 2,000 NVIDIA studies and you updated your study, didn't create a copy, there would still be just 2,000 studies. If you changed your forecast in your NVIDIA study, that might help microscopically change the rankings, but not by much, not with that kind of data. I'm really happy that we have so many people in our community that are studying stocks that we can have statistically significant data on some of this. So short answer is no, it doesn't.
All right, very good. Okay, this is a second person that asked, so I'm going to ask it out loud. I answered one person.
Sure.
Is there a way to save your search criteria when you're adding that to the stock ideas page?
Great question. At this time, no, there's not a way to save your search criteria, but that is a great suggestion. And I'm going to talk about suggestions in a second here. So,
it's right there on that screen. That's where I sent the first guy or person. I don't remember. Anyway, you continue on. That's
all right.
That's it for right now.
All
Nothing
right, great. I will remind everyone that you can email us for help on tools, on your membership, whatever, at service@betterinvesting.org. Also, if you have a suggestion for a future improvement search criteria person, please visit feedback.betterinvesting.org and submit it for consideration. And that's a wrap. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your night to visit with us, listen to the webinar. Hopefully you learned a few things about your member benefits and where you can find stock ideas. Thank you, Anne, and our backroom staff of Roy Chastain. We appreciate you volunteering your time tonight. So good night, all.
Good night.
Are you one of the people who desires to create wealth, or are you one of those people who just desires to have enough money just to be comfortable? In this video, I want to talk to the people who have a desire to create wealth, not just wealth, but lasting, generational, perpetuating wealth. And in order to create wealth, you have to understand the purpose of cash, right? Or the purpose of wealth, what wealth is, what wealth is not, the purpose of cash. And it's really fascinating when I talk to people. Like, I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and I can pretty much, even if we're just talking about something random, I can pretty much assess where they are financially because your words betray you. They tell people who you are. And creating wealth, the idea feels hard until you learn how to do it. And then once you learn how to do it, you ask yourself the question,
Did I ever feel like this is hard? I don't know if anybody